Hi there, my name is Chris. Welcome to Late Listening. I've been doing a series on albums that came out in 1995, and in today's video, I'd like to continue that with PJ Harvey's To Bring You My Love. This deceptively simple, or I guess I should say deceptively minimal, album that is actually very, very deep. There is so many layers to this record despite its stark arrangements, the incredible power of PJ Harvey, the incredible vision that she has of kind of reworking American blues music into kind of an apocalyptic frenzy. I think of this record kind of how I think of Van Morrison's Astral Weeks or Elliott Smith's second record, the self-titled record, in the sense that each song is very powerful on its own, but they all add up to kind of a story in a way. It's not a concept album, but it's like they all add up to something more than the sum of their parts. This kind of, you feel like you've read a bunch of interconnected short stories by the end of it or something. You've experienced this incredibly unique vision of maybe one narrator, the same narrator who's moving through all of these stories. Something like that. So yeah, anyway, I hope you'll join me for my analysis. It might get a little bit weird, so yeah, let's get into it. All right, first of all, let's take a look at the cover here. PJ Harvey. Is this a baptism? Or is this a rebirth? Well, after all, this album takes a lot from the Mississippi Delta blues, so maybe she's being baptized in the Mississippi. You could even say there's connotations of Ophelia drowning herself. Maybe all of the above. You can't see the pink cat suit that she was wearing throughout the tour for this album, but you do see her wearing the kind of red slip. What kind of expression does she have there? I don't know. Meet the Monsta. This is the first record without the PJ Harvey trio, and it's essentially her first solo album. She brought in new collaborators, one of the Bad Seeds from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Mick Harvey, not related to PJ Harvey, and her old friend John Parrish, who's actually from her hometown. And this was produced by Flood, the legendary producer Flood, who worked with U2 and worked with Nine Inch Nails. And she also takes the helm for some of the production. On the back, she's climbing the stairs, she's moving on. And you can kind of see, I like the fact that she's going up the stairs in black and white on the back of this, because if you look at, for example, the previous album, Rid of Me, she's in a bath on the cover. She's looking pretty wild in black and white, and her eyes are closed on the back, almost as if she's dreaming or she's, in a kind of a meditative state. And then flash forward to Bring You My Love, to Bring You My Love. And it's like all of a sudden it's Technicolor. We're going from the black and white kind of punk rock world into something totally different. Her sound is expanded. There's a lot more melodic elements, even though it's still a kind of a wild and minimal sound. But there's a lot more, subtly, there's a lot more going on here. I was reading this article from Melody Maker. It's actually back from 1993. But it was talking about how PJ Harvey was, an angry young woman, and she was kind of lumped into the same group as Hole or Babes in Toyland, Bikini Kill. But the thing about PJ Harvey is she refused to define herself as a feminist. When interviewers would bring up the Riot Girl bands like Bikini Kill, she would just kind of laugh and say, that's not me, I'm not part of that movement. And she was an outsider even amongst the outsiders. She really kind of stood alone. Another thing that's important to remember is that PJ Harvey's songs have never been autobiographical. She's often doing a kind of a character, or she's imagining herself in the situation. She's not actually talking about real experiences for the most part, which is something that a lot of critics and even some casual fans have mistaken about her. And musically, her influences are not female. They're not only male, but they're very manly men, like Nick Cave, Tom Waits, Howlin' Wolf, Captain Beefheart, and even William Burroughs, the writer, was a big influence on her as well. So, as I mentioned in the intro, I think of this album as a series of interconnected short stories, with each character kind of telling their own tale of rejection or ruinous obsession. Each character has their own way of telling their own story, and yet somehow all of these characters seem to be interconnected, possibly seen through the eyes of the same narrator. Even when the perspective shifts, I feel like it's still very much within the same world and the same kind of apocalyptic, hellish vision. This album to me is like kind of like polar opposites. So on the one hand, intimacy, and on the other hand, abrasion. I feel like this album is intimacy and abrasion because she really draws you in, but then she also, with her kind of wild feral energy, she also attacks you. She attacks your ears, and yet you cannot get away. You don't want to get away. You really want to stay in there. All right, let's get into it. Track number 1, To Bring You My Love, the title track. I can't think of many tracks that fade in on a record. This one begins with that kind of ominous, and then it also fades out. So it fades in and it fades out, almost like a phantom. Like it has that little organ at the end. It's catchy, but it's creepy at the same time. The whole thing feels stark naked, yet somehow apocalyptic. Her voice is just absolutely at its peak. She has that creepy vibrato that it almost overpowers the microphone. I feel like she's singing at such a volume that the microphone's actually getting distorted a little bit. So again, the intimacy and the abrasion, because the track is quite minimal, but her voice is just it's unforgettable. And this song is actually weirdly catchy, even though it's kind of an apocalyptic hellscape that she's painting. But it's like, I don't know, it sticks in your head too. The lyrics about being born in the desert kind of echo the strangeness and the starkness. Whereas it also contrasts with the cover art too, which I find interesting. This image of the water, the rebirth, Ophelia drowning herself, what have you. She's almost like a demon. Like her voice is like a banshee wail. It's like a force to be reckoned with. And, you can't help but wonder what kind of like poisoned love she's bringing to you and whether you want to accept it at all. What is love to a person like this? This is one of those songs that's just overwhelming and unforgettable. It's cinematic. It's almost like a spell is cast on me, cast into my ears. And I have to listen to it all the way through and can't wait to hear what's next. And what is next? Track 2, Meet the Monsta. The title of this song seems to be an allusion to Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band's Tropical Hot Dog Night. In that song, he talks about meeting the monster. The second verse of that song, everything's wrong, at the same time it's right. The truth has no patterns for me tonight. I'm playing this music so the young girls will come out to meet the monster tonight. Ooh. Anyway. The whistle, the PE teacher's whistle in the middle of the song and at the end of the song always kind of fucks with me. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, what the? It's weird. It like that whistle comes in and then there's like this industrial noise like effect kind of breakdown and then it leads into the bridge. It's always so bizarre. Also, this song is probably the poppiest up to this point in her career. It's got those stomp clap drums. And Z Monsta is, in a way, her alter ego. She created a stage alter ego called Vamp when she was wearing her pink cat suit and kind of strutting around during this tour. And this song seems to be the theme song for Vamp. All right, track 3, Working for the Man. Like, the mixing on this song is bonkers. Like, where is her voice, Especially when you have headphones on. It's like, it's inside my head, man. It's emanating from the spirit womb. And yet it's still so damn catchy. That's the thing. And then she's got the maracas, she's got the rumbling bass, she's got that repetitive guitar, and the lyrics, in the night I look for love, get my strength from the man above. God of piston, God of steel, God is here behind my wheel. Pretty things get in my car, take them flying, it's not far. Take 'em handsome, take 'em mean. Look good in my steel machine. Don't you know yet who I am? Working harder for the man. Go around, I'm doing good. Get my strength from the man above. What kind of person is this? Is it a drug dealer? Is it some kind of demented taxi driver? Could it be a serial killer who believes he's doing the Lord's work? I feel like that's the kind of road that she's on in this song. Also, I like how this song ends with her eating the listener, or eating the song, like in one bite. Like, track number 4, Come On Billy. This was one of the singles from this album. I feel like this song kind of foreshadows her album from 2000, Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, an album that I absolutely love as well. This song has that really strummy, like catchy guitar. The menace is still in there. It's a little bit harder to see, but it's if you listen to the lyrics, it's really dark. There's speculation that one of the lines in here is an homage to a Leadbelly song when she says "damn thing went crazy" at the end of the song. Spoiler alert. It's likely a nod to Leadbelly's Black Betty.
Black Betty had a baby, bam a lamb. Black Betty had a baby, bam a lamb. Little thing went crazy, bam a lamb. Little thing went crazy, bam a lamb.
So PJ Harvey's very familiar with American blues, very familiar with the Mississippi Delta blues and the traditional blues structures and lyrics. This is not the first allusion that she makes in this album. There are others. And so I think it's cool that she kind of slips that in there, and that's also such a turning point in that song, too. Track number 5, Teclo. According to the book PJ Harvey Siren Rising, she claimed that the main inspiration came from the soundtrack to The Guns from St. Sebastian. In that movie, Charles Bronson plays the character Teclo. But interestingly enough, this is not from the perspective of the character of Teclo, but it's from the perspective of the mourners at his funeral. And I think that's her cleverness right there. That's her, her playwriting, her narrative structure. She always has a really interesting take. And I like the fact that she doesn't structure it from Teclo's perspective, but from an outsider's perspective. Just let me ride on his grace for a while, she croons, summoning the doom and grandeur of someone out on the lonely plains in some spaghetti western. All right, side 2. Track 6, Long Snake Moan. This song is an incredible banger. The riff is amazing. I think this is one of the greatest, most underrated PJ Harvey songs. And just like I was talking about how in the song Come On Billy, she references a Leadbelly song, the title of this is probably a reference to Blind Lemon Jefferson's Black Snake Moan. The lyrics, dunk you under deep salt water, bring me lover, all your power. I'll be no hell out of your spell, over under, die of pleasure. I like that too, die of pleasure. It's like, I love those contradictions that she comes up with. Verse 3, she says, dunk you under deep salt water, in my dreaming you'll be drowning. Raise me up, Lord, call me Lazarus. Hey, Lord, heal me, make ready my veil. And then in the bridge, she said, it's my voodoo working. And that calls back to Charles Sheffield's It's Your Voodoo Working, that song. I really like how, even though Pauly Jean is not religious, she plays around with the biblical imagery and the kind of darker side of the Christian myth. Of course, she's pulling a little bit from Nick Cave. I think she's pulling some inspiration from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Also, in my head, it's connected to Mark Lanegan, because I'm a huge fan of Mark Lanegan. And of course, at this time, she would probably not have been aware of Mark Lanegan. But I love the fact that, Mark Lanegan also, he's not religious, but he plays around with, the Catholic imagery, the Bible imagery, and he creates these kind of Western post-apocalyptic songs, blues, like Twisted Nightmare blues, in the same kind of thing. And in my head, I feel like they're all in the same kind of creepy world, a creepy dream. Track number 7, Down by the Water. Weirdly enough, this song was the hit. This was actually nominated for a Grammy, weirdly enough, even though it's such a weird song. It's such a dark song. And also it was nominated for Best Female Video at the 1995 MTV VMAs. So it really went quite far. The song begins kind of minimal, and it's just got a little percussion and that organ. And then as it goes, it starts bringing in orchestra, little bits of strings and all kinds of different instruments. You got violin, viola, cello. The outro of this song also has a reference, people think, to Leadbelly, where she says, little fish, big fish swimming in the water. Come back here, man, give me my daughter. She whispers that all creepy. That refrain was based on Leadbelly's rendition of the old American folk song, Salty Dog Blues.
Ah, little big fish swimming in the water. Come on back here, man, you give me my quarter, you salty dog. Oh, you salty dog.
And it's interesting to note that you have the water imagery again, even though it's about drowning. Maybe the cover Ophelia, I'm not sure. And then talking about being a mother. The very next song, I Think I'm a Mother. So here's the creation imagery also. The rebirth. Track number 8, I Think I'm a Mother. For me, probably the weakest track lyrically on the album, even though musically it's still very interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of this song. Thematically, I think it fits with the whole, all the little short stories that have been building into this creepy world. It fits right in there, but I don't know. I guess it doesn't really speak to me that much. I usually skip it. Track number 9, Send His Love to Me. This has got some Borderland vibes right here. Begging Jesus so desperately with her kind of raggedy voice keeps it in the apocalyptic wasteland. I love the lyrics to this song, actually. Verse 1, lover had to leave me, cross the desert plain, turn to me his lady, tell me, lover, wait. And then the chorus, calling Jesus, please, send his love to me. Oh, wind and rain, they haunt me. Look to the north and pray. Send me, please, his kisses. Send them home today. I love the lyrics of verse 3 where she says, left alone in the desert, this house becomes a hell. This love becomes a tether. This room becomes a cell. Man, it doesn't get much darker than that. Oh, and then the dryness. I mentioned earlier she talks about being dry. She also had the song Dry from Rid of Me, and the album, her debut record, was Dry. At the end of this song, oh lover, please release me, my arms too weak to grip, my eyes too dry for weeping, my lips too dry to kiss. And so that's echoing maybe her earlier music, and again, contrasting completely with the cover art and some of the drowning imagery that we've just heard in the previous songs. The lyrics, again, echoing the American blues and folk traditions. The language seems to me to be a little old-fashioned, and at times reminded me of, like, there's a lot of old folk songs where, lovers have gone away, gone off to war. It even kind of reminded me of that song of The Dreadful Wind and Rain, which Jerry Garcia and David Grisman did a great version of that, but that's also known as The Two Sisters. I can show the Wikipedia page here. That's an old folk song. Kind of reminded me of that. I'm not sure if that's directly a reference, but could be. And finally, track number 10, The Dancer. The most musically complicated and I guess musically the most interesting song on the record. Again, it's kind of in the Borderland territory, but the lyrics still in the apocalyptic desert. He came riding fast like a phoenix out of fire flames. He came dressed in black with a cross bearing my name. He came bathed in light and splendor and glory. I can't believe what the Lord has finally sent me. And then the very end, 'cause I've prayed days and I've prayed nights for the Lord to send me home some sign. I've looked long, I've looked for, to bring peace to my black and empty heart. And that's the last line of the album. We do not get a happy ending. We remain in the post-apocalyptic desert. Waiting for the second coming, waiting for the end times, or maybe we're already in the end times. Also, I like how The Dancer ends with that organ, those keys that we've been hearing periodically throughout the album. Almost all of these songs have some organ, and it's become kind of familiar at that point, but it's also tied to the darkness and kind of a church. I mean, also, they play organs in church, don't they? And I like how, it ends with that really spooky organ kind of fading away. And it's like, it's familiar yet creepy, and it's leading you on into the dark desert wasteland. Polly Jean Harvey, thank you for your dreams and your visions. This is such a great record. I really can't recommend this enough. If you've never heard this album, I would be very curious if you listen to it. Please let me know what you think. Whenever I put it on, I feel like every time I kind of rediscover it. Like I always think like this is a pretty good album, and then I put it on and I'm like, no, this is an amazing album. Why don't I listen to this more often? I can't recommend this highly enough. If you want something weird and dark and a contrast to everything that's going on in music nowadays, go back to the 90s. All right, that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again.